Good day, everyone. My name is Olawale Oluwaseyi Ayola. Today, I want to examine one of the exams in ATS 1, which is economics. At ATS 1, we have microeconomics and macroeconomics. The microeconomics component deals with issues affecting household and firms at the micro level. That is, all economic decisions of household and firms that does not necessarily affect the aggregate economy is treated under microeconomics. The topics under microeconomics include price system, cost theory, production theory, market structure, and utility theory. However, in macroeconomics, we have topics like inflation, unemployment, money, international trade, and so on and so forth. But today, we restrict our class to the cost and revenue concept and national income account. From the question on the board, we are to examine the marginal revenue and marginal cost. Also, we have a hypothetical table to examine the relationship between marginal revenue and marginal cost. However, for macroeconomics, we have questions on national income account. So I will start from microeconomics. From the question, we are to give a brief explanation to the concept of marginal revenue and marginal cost. And marginal revenue is just the additional revenue for selling extra units of a product, while marginal cost is the extra cost or additional cost incurred by a producer for producing extra units. We may also say that marginal cost is the extra cost incurred by employing additional production input. Now, from the question in 3B, we have to fill in the marginal revenue and marginal cost. As shown in the table, we have the price, quantity, total cost, total revenue, marginal revenue, and marginal cost. But in the question, we have been given values for price, quantity, total cost, and total revenue, and we have to provide answers to marginal revenue and marginal cost. Now, from the explanation earlier, I said marginal revenue is the extra revenue for selling extra units. And we can see our total revenue here is 7, while 1 unit was sold. At quantity 2, total revenue is 12. At quantity 3, total revenue is 15, in that order. Now, how do we derive the marginal revenue? I said earlier that the marginal revenue is extra revenue for selling extra units. From the illustration, as at the time 12 naira was made as revenue, the extra unit sold is 1 because 2 minus 1 gives 1. As at the time 50 units was sold, also the extra unit sold was 1. How do we derive the value? The extra revenue implies change in revenue, while the extra unit implies change in the unit sold. That is, change in total revenue with respect to change in the unit. Therefore, our marginal revenue is change in total revenue with respect to change in the total unit sold. For the first unit sold, because we do not have initial value, that's why we always have dash, dash. This is because for us to obtain marginal revenue, there must be initial value. But from the illustration, there is no initial value. Going to the second unit, the initial value was 1, while the initial total revenue was 7. Therefore, change in total revenue is 12 minus 7, while change in quantity is 2 minus 1. As such, this gives 5, divide 1. As at the time 2 units was produced, the marginal revenue is 5. Let's go to the third unit. As at the time the third unit was produced, the total revenue is 15, and the change is 15 minus 12, which is the change in total revenue by producing the third unit, which is 3 minus 2. So The marginal revenue, this is marginal revenue for 2. The marginal revenue for 3 is change in total revenue divide change in quantity. So at 3, total revenue is 15, initial revenue is 12. We have 15 minus 12, 3 minus the initial value, initial quantity, 2. 15 minus 12 is 3, 3 minus 2, 1. Then marginal revenue is 3. At 4th unit, total revenue is 15. Therefore, 16 minus 15 gives us the change in total revenue, while 4 minus 3 gives us change in quantity. Therefore, at marginal revenue for the 4th unit, change in total revenue divide change in Q gives at 4, 16 minus 15 divide 4 minus 3. We have 1 divide 1, 1. As at the time the 5th unit was sold, we have 15 minus 15. Therefore, our marginal revenue is 15 minus 16 divided. So, marginal revenue for the 5th is change in total revenue divide change in Q. We have 15 minus 16 divide 5 minus 4. We have minus 1 divide 1, minus 1. As at the time the 6th unit was sold, the total revenue is 12, while the initial revenue is 15. Therefore, for the 6th unit, marginal revenue for 6, change in total revenue divide change in Q, which is 12 minus 15 divide 6 minus 5, minus 3 divide 1, minus 3. For the last unit, for the last quantity that was sold, total revenue is 7, and the initial total revenue is 12. Therefore, for the 7th unit sold, change in total revenue with respect to change in Q is 7 minus 12 divide 7 minus 6, which is minus 5 divide 1, that gives minus 5. Also, the question actually asks us to look for the marginal cost. And from the illustration, it is clear that the marginal cost, the total cost for respective output sold, ranges from 8, 9, 12, 20, 35, 55, and 77. So, adopting the same approach, we have, I need to clean this. Now, we are to estimate the marginal cost. From the illustration, it is clear that the total cost for respective outputs are 8, 9, 12, 20, 35, 55, and 77. So just as established under marginal revenue, then the marginal cost also is extra cost, which represents change in total cost with respect to extra units, which is change in quantity. At output 1, as said earlier, because we do not have initial value, it is always dash. At output 2, the total cost is 9, while the initial cost is 8. Therefore, marginal cost at output 2 is change in total cost divide change in quantity. So, at output 2, total cost is 9, initial cost is 8, divide 2 minus 1. 1 divide 1 is 1. So at output 2, marginal cost is at output 3. Change in total cost divide change in Q. At output 3, total cost is 12. Initial cost is 9. Divide the actual quantity at output 3, that's 3 units minus initial quantity. We have 3, divide 1. Our marginal cost at output 3 is 3. At output 4, marginal cost at output 4 is, at output 4, the total cost is 20. The initial cost is 12. The quantity 4 minus 3. We have 8, divide 1. The marginal cost at output 4 is 8. At output 5, marginal cost at output 5, using the same formula. The total cost at output 5 is 35. The initial cost at output 5 is 20. Divide 5 minus 4. We have 15. Divide 1. 15. At output 6, the total cost is 55. Change in total cost with respect to change in Q. Total cost is 55. The initial cost is 35. And the initial value, the initial quantity, the actual quantity is 6, initial quantity is 5. So we have 20. Divide 1, 20. At output 6, marginal cost is 20. And lastly, at output 7, the marginal cost at output 7 is change in total cost with respect to change in Q. At output 7, the total cost is 77. The initial cost is 55. The initial unit, the actual unit is 7. The initial unit is 6. So, at output 7, the change in total cost is 22, and change in output 1. Marginal cost is 22. This answer, the first part of the question, which required us to complete the table for the marginal cost trends. The marginal cost trend is given as follows. So based on the outcome of our analysis, we have been able to answer the first question, which required us completing the table for the marginal cost trends. However, the second question required us to determine the profit maximization output level and the profit maximizing selling price. To maximize profit, marginal cost must be equal to marginal revenue. To maximize profit, marginal cost must be equal to marginal revenue. From the illustration, it is clear that marginal cost equates marginal revenue at this point. That is the point where marginal cost equates marginal revenue, and the same value for marginal cost. And the question is to determine the profit maximizing output. So we have to determine the output at which marginal cost equates marginal revenue. We can see that that occurs at output 3. So the output at which marginal cost equates marginal revenue is output 3. And the price at which marginal cost equates marginal revenue is 5 naira. At 5 naira and output 3, the marginal cost will equate marginal revenue. So that answers the question under microeconomics. Now let's go to macroeconomics. So you can stop it there. Now to macroeconomics. As explained earlier, macroeconomics entail issues that affect the general public, or rather, we may say, it includes issues that affect the general populace or that affect economic growth, economic development. And unlike the decision of household and firm, macroeconomics include decision of the government that affect aggregate consumption, that affect aggregate investment, that affect aggregate export, aggregate import. So macroeconomics is broader in view. However, for the sake of today's class, we are looking at a component of macroeconomics, which is national income account. In national income account, we have consumption, which represent the equation represent the aggregate demand in the economy. And we are saying that aggregate demand entails consumption, investment, government expenditure, export, and import. Now, from the given question, it has been expressed that we are to look for the equilibrium national income. From the question, it is clear that the Y represents the aggregate demand, C represents consumption, I represents investment, G government expenditure, X export, and M import. From the illustration, we have been given the respective values of each of these components, where C represents the aggregate consumption, and this is the value for consumption. 65 represents autonomous consumption, while 0.8 represents induced consumption, or what is generally known as marginal propensity to consume. Also, the disposable income, which is the YD, is the income minus tax. That is, our disposable income is our total income minus tax. Also, it has been given that this tax is 40 and is a lump sum tax. The aggregate investment is 26. The government expenditure is 39. Net export 15. Again, for each of the components, we have been told that the C, which is the consumption, is 65 plus 0.8 YD. This 65 represents autonomous consumption, while 0.8 represents induced consumption. Also, the disposable income, which is the YD, is income Y minus T. And we have been told that T is 40, which is I, is 26. Government expenditure, which is 39, as given. Net export, our net export is X. This is net export. X, net export. Oh, sorry. Can I start from net export? Net export is X minus M. X represents export, M import. So the difference between export and import represents net export. We have been told from the question that net export, X minus M, is 15. Then we are required to inscribe each of these values into the aggregate equation. How do we go about it? Y equals C plus I plus G plus X minus M. From the illustration, now to macroeconomics. As mentioned before, macroeconomics deals with aggregate economic decision. It covers decision on consumption, investment, government expenditure, export, and import. From the illustration, it is clear that consumption is 65 plus 0.8 YD. 65 represents autonomous consumption, while 0.8 represents marginal propensity to consume. Also, we were told that this YD minus tax. And from the illustration, tax investment, which is the I component, is 26. Government expenditure, which is the G component, is 39. Net export. Net export is export minus import. So, from the illustration, export minus import, which is net export, is 15. Therefore, we can say that each of the components has their respective value from the question. So, let's move to the solution. From the question, Y equals consumption plus investment plus government expenditure plus export minus import. Let's start with consumption. Consumption from the illustration is 65 plus 0.8 yd. We were told that yd is y, which is income, minus tax. Also, tax has been given as 40. Therefore, yd equals y minus 40. We can actually substitute this value of yd into this. As such, we have c equals 65 plus 0.8. We have we have we have gotten the value for yd. Therefore, we have c equals 65 plus 0.8. This is the value for yd, which is y minus 40. By opening the bracket, we have 0.8y minus 0.8 multiply 40. Now calculate it. Where is 0.8 multiply 40? How do we do that? Yes. As such, c equals 65 plus 0.8 into yd. The yd is y minus 40. c equals 65 plus 0.8y minus 32. Is that okay? This represents the consumption function. Then we can infuse consumption function into the main equation. We have y equals, instead of c, we have 65 plus 0.8y minus 32 plus investment. Investment is 26 plus government. Government is 39 plus net export. The value for net export is 30. From here, 33. Therefore, C is 65 minus 32. 33 plus 0.8y. The next step is to infuse C into the equation and the respective figures. Therefore, we have y equals C, which is 33 plus 0.8y plus investment. The value for investment is 26 plus government expenditure. Government expenditure is 39 plus net export. Net export is 15. Therefore, y is 33 plus 26 plus 39 plus 15. national government expenditure of 20, which is question 3. Change in equilibrium national income, giving the multiplier with respect to change in government expenditure. We are looking for change in equilibrium national income, giving an additional government expenditure of 20. From the illustration, our K, which is our multiplier, is 5. And the change in government expenditure is 20. Therefore, change in national income is 100. This answers the third question.
Okay.
Thank you for your time and attention. I will implore you to join our physical class and our online classes. The location for the physical class is displayed below. I'll be looking forward to seeing each and every one of you. Thank you and God bless you all.